That's insane. Well, thanks very much. It's nice to... Good morning. I mean, I've only been up about half an hour.
Well, good morning, the world.
Exactly.
They're all locked
Good morning,
in right now. How are you? You look, actually, because my first question is, are you tired?
Hello and welcome to Midland Volunteer Fire Service. Today we are going to be demonstrating to you a road traffic collision, or RTC for short. What you will actually see over the period of time that you're watching this video is the techniques and the use of the equipment that a modern day fire engine and a modern day fire brigade have available if, in the case of a road traffic collision, or an RTC as we like to call them, does occur. The fire service are there for their rescue side of their fire and rescue service. So what we will show you today is how and why it's necessary for us to give you the full care when you do, or if you do are unfortunate to have an accident. The first thing you'll see is assessment from myself, the officer in charge, who will go around and make an assessment around the vehicle, in the vehicle, and to make sure that it's safe for the fire service guys to be able to get in there and start their jobs. But as that's going on, you'll see a lot of activity around the fire engine, removing of equipment and laying out sheets on the floor and a safe working area. We do have a thing in the fire service called the safety zone. It's a 3-meter zone around the incident to make sure that we have a safe area to work in. No trip hazards, no risk of fire. The first thing that we will do is get a casualty carer. Every fire service now has a guy who is a trauma tech or advanced lifesaver on board. He will be able to administer oxygen, Entonox, and basically patch somebody up if they need to stop them from deteriorating. If we are first on scene, that would be one of the key roles that one of the firefighters would have. You'll see this man, he's the guy who's got the Entonox and oxygen and the what we call the Mars resuscitation set. He'll get a collar onto the person and we'll cover them up to keep them warm. The one thing that we try to do is understand that there's a thing called the golden hour, and this is the hour we would like to be able to get to on scene, extract the casualty and get them to an A&E emergency hospital within that golden hour. Anything after that, there is a possibility of life-changing or serious effects to the recovery or the health of the person involved in the accident. As you can see, this is quite a damaged car. It has been run over by a tank, and we are only doing this as a demonstration. Tim, who's the guy who you can see inside the car, is a volunteer. He has put himself into that position many times with us, and he gives a commentary from the inside of what it's like to be the first person. And he has said it is very scary, even though it's done under control situations and in a safe environment. He still said it's real and realistic with the noises and the sounds. So what we would do then is get the vehicle stabilised. We have a 5-point system of stability, which is all 4 corners and the rear of the vehicle. The reason we do that for is because we will have to gain access to the car once we've cleared away any metal objects, doors, roof, so on, around the car, to be able to extract the casualty on a spine board. So we need to make sure that we don't lean on the car or move the car unnecessarily to give or enhance any injury that the person may have to their back or their spine. They could be okay at the moment, but if we unnecessarily move them and create a bigger injury or paralyse them, then obviously we're to blame. So all duty of care is taken to make sure that the person is stabilised, comfortable and safe within the vehicle. The equipment that we will use today will be a dedicated cutter and spreader. The reason we have this is one will open things up, and the other end of the tool has got a sharp point on it. This will get into all small crevices and apertures so that we can open up. The other part of the tool is the scissor serrated edge, which will cut. So you'll see bits of everything where they'll be cutting and spreading with this tool. There is probably 2 or 3 guys around the car at any one time, but if you look at the activity, there's the guys who are taking equipment off, the guys that are making the area safe. What we will do is park the fire engine in a fend off position so that we can give ourselves a safe environment. If this was still a fast flowing road and it was a motorway, the last thing we want is the unsuspected driver who doesn't see the fire engines or doesn't see the accident and go ploughing into us. It's easier for them to plough into a fire engine and bounce off that than it is to bounce off the fireman. The last thing we want to do is become casualties ourselves. So we give ourselves a safe environment by putting cones and road safety signs out to give people as much warning as possible that there is an incident and we need to, for you to slow down and just give us a wide berth. Once all that stability and protection area is in place, they'll get to work on taking the roof off the car. This is a process where you'll see where they cut, spread, move, popping the doors off. This car's quite well twisted, so there is a little bit of difficulty because it's not straight edge metal, and once metal has been twisted and manipulated, what it tends to do is have a memory form that it wants to try and straighten itself back out to the same shape it originally was. So once we start releasing it, you'll hear bangs and pops where the doors are twisting and going back to sort of as much shape to original as they can. The other side of it then is the casualty carer. He will stay with that person all the way through this operation. There will be a guy walking around, you'll see, with a little blue board in his hand that's shaped like a teardrop. It's exactly what it's called a teardrop, and it's actually a debris shield. The reason why we have that is so that any of the debris or anything that flies off of the car doesn't hit the casualty and cause more injuries. As you can see, the firefighters have got full fire protection on, helmet, fire boots, everything that we would have to protect ourselves because of sharp edges, broken glass, contamination, and also obviously to protect the person as well. Tim is actually wearing a full fire suit and helmet only because being in a car of that nature, even though we are demonstrating, it's still dangerous. So we protect him to the same level of ourselves so that Tim doesn't get any injuries or glass in fragments into him. Obviously, we don't want anybody to have a real car crash, but this is a simulation to what would happen if you was involved and how you needed to be extracted. What would happen is they cut the roof off, peel the roof back, it's called the peel and reveal. Then the spine board will be brought in. The spine board then will be slipped down between the back of the seat and the casualty. That's when most of the firemen become involved because it's the burliness and the strength of the firemen to help with the extraction. There could be a heavy person in the car. We then make sure that they get put onto a spine board, safely strapped down, extracted away from the vehicle and taken to an A&E ambulance or even an air ambulance if necessary. What will happen is then the equipment will be stowed away, stacked away, and the vehicles and the staff will be made available. Just before we go, and you're watching the end of the video as they are extracting Tim out of the vehicle and taking him away on the spine board, I'll just let you know who we are. We are Midland Volunteer Fire Service. We are a non-profit making volunteer organisation from the Midlands. We do very much a lot with charity work, but we also do TV work and transport events, steam events, anything that's required for safety with fire engines, and also a water service. We also can do risk assessments, and we are able to give advice as well with your event. So if you're an event organiser, give us a call on the contact details below. Look forward to speaking to you soon. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you at an event over the next few years. Thank you very much.